I am alive and well and concerned about the rumors of my death. But if I were dead, I'd be the last to know. That is a direct quote from Paul McCartney, and the topic of this episode is Paul dead? Was he switched with the doppelganger to spare the public from heartbreak? Well, join us tonight as we dive deep into this mystery. I'm your host, Casey.
I'm Mike.
I'm Jam Session Joe.
Hell yeah.
No, so this conspiracy is basically let me give you a quick thing, and then we'll go deep dive into it. So Paul McCartney was said to have died in a crash, and to spare obviously the public from heartbreak, the remainder of the Beatles replaced him with a lookalike, and they say there's clues through their music and on their album art. And yeah, so we'll just go dive right into it.
Yeah, has any of you heard of this before? Because I know I had. That's
between that and then rappers claiming that they're the clone of a dead rapper.
See, I
never heard one of those.
Fucking no names to me. I don't know how well they actually sell. There's this one dumbass rapper with the Majin symbol on his forehead. Claims he was claims he's actually the clone of whatever. He's a clone and he's a better version. It's just he sounded so fucking brain dead. But I've heard these stories of Paul McCartney was dead and they replaced him. I'm trying to remember. I can't think of any other ones right now. There's an actual
Avril Lavigne.
Avril Lavigne
to be the same.
Dave Chappelle was supposed to be switched by a double.
Yeah.
They were
he's not a rapper or a singer, but he's a comedian.
We need somebody.
He's still a famous entertainer.
No, yeah. That's actually the million. That's the $6 Million Man or whatever that fucking thing is. I don't remember what it's called. The $1 Million Man. He's like dying, and they're like, we need to build him better.
Faster, we have stronger. The technology.
We have the technology. Faster, stronger, more hateful towards the transgender community.
What the hell, man?
No, but I never heard about this conspiracy until Mike suggested it, and I was like, "Who the fuck is Paul?" Because that's the only description. Yeah, Paul is dead. I was like, "Who the fuck is Paul, and why is he dead?"
Yesterday,
and he's like, "Oh, Paul McCartney," and I was like, "Oh, okay, that makes sense." But it's funny because when I Googled Paul is dead, that's literally how like the fucking headline, like the web links were. That's how they were labeled, just Paul is dead. I was like, oh, okay, this makes it easy then.
Like it's to me, it's a well-known one. Like I had heard of it before, and I'm not like super into conspiracy. I mean, I wasn't. Now it's a bit different.
But I always hear like
change. Now I fucking question everything because of this goddamn podcast.
But I always hear like when I was in high school, I heard that Eminem died, and I went and looked, and it was like, oh, it was just an internet hoax. And then I heard like fucking Nicki Minaj died, and it was an internet hoax. Like it's like I always hear these people die, so I never put really any like faith in any of these guys. But this one was a little different. This one got me a little bit. I was like, oh shit. And then I was delving deeper into it. I was like, I don't know. Now I'm questioning whether I didn't go into like any like deep into the clues or whatever, but just the whole like story that we're gonna get into. I was like, oh, this is fucking wild.
When every time I heard about this, I was like, well, that's fucking stupid. Like, why would they do that? Like, it's not hard to replace a member in a band, and like, dude, if your guitar player dies, or guitar player and like one of the lead singers, bass player, piano player, he did everything.
Well, actually, they're kind of doing that similar with Linkin Park. They actually found that Chester has a long-lost brother named Sylvester Bennington. And he's like, if you guys don't mind, I'd just rather have you guys call me Chester. And we'll just pretend like the other guy.
It's like, can you call me Landfill too?
Did you guys listen to Linkin Park's new song they released?
Yeah.
It was fucking
loved it, dude. Yeah, I was like, holy shit.
But it's like, dude, it's a B-side from Meteora. That's why. It's it's a Meteora track. That's why it sounds so fucking good.
And
I didn't know that. I thought they just came out with it. I was like, this thing's fucking dope as shit. I was like, they're back to the roots.
Yeah, no, it's a meteoric track. So,
before any of the listeners think it's like, here they go, getting off track again. It's like, no, because Chester and Jay-Z both did a song with Paul McCartney. It was Yesterday, and no.
Well, technically the Beatles did that, but
okay, well, whatever. I mean, Paul McCartney did the song live with Chester Bennington and Jay-Z.
I didn't know that.
Oh, you've never heard that?
I don't think I've ever heard that song. Yeah.
It's like
I'm gonna have to look it up.
Whatever Numb that they did for the Collision Course thing, but they also, he comes on stage while they're doing it. Paul McCartney does, and everybody's freaking out. Or Paul McCartney's doppelganger comes on stage, and everybody's
William Campbell.
Well, hold up. I would say it's like, even that if that is his doppelganger, you cheer for him because Paul McCartney went on to have a dope ass solo career after the Beatles. So
so even if it's the doppelganger, he potentially, oh my god, dude, potentially. Oh, this is what happens when you start drinking an hour before the pod. Yeah.
I was drinking this whole time waiting for you.
Was a better fucking singer than Paul McCartney. And actually, I just seen this. This might be a good read. There is an image comic of the alternate history, or graphic novel of the alternate history that Paul McCartney. Well, they say alternate, whatever. Paul is Dead is what it's called.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. It's written by Paolo Baron. I can't say that name. And drawn by Ernesto Carbonetti. It was translated from Italian and that makes sense. I couldn't.
Oh, now those
hey, Joseph, you know how to speak Italian. You gotta hold up your hands like you're holding a piece of like a grain of salt, like you said.
That's how we get. That's how we get canceled and get thrown in a pasta. I was playing. So okay,
the Paul McCartney in the pasta, and it tasted good.
So it was translated from Italian and published in English by Image Comics in a single volume on June 3rd, 2020. It's a work of speculative fiction inspired by the enduring Paul is Dead urban myth, which we're getting into right now. Yes. It claims that the Beatles member. Yeah, well, okay, we already know that part. I'm just reading what we're talking about now. That's Wikipedia. So, I just seen the comic thing, so I clicked on it real quick. Gave myself a real quick wiki peek.
So I'm not sure when they said that he died because there's two different dates that I saw.
It's roughly says like 1966, right?
That's what I'm seeing.
No, it's well, let me see what I wrote. Yeah, 66, but there's another one that said that he died like fucking like a year later that he died. Oh, early 1967. Oh yeah, so it said okay, so it might have been in 66, but it said there's one date that says January 7th that he died, but there's also another date that said he died on November 9th. So I'm not sure which one it was, but I went to the one I chose the November. Yeah, but I chose the November 9th one because that one they said it was the most conspirators attribute that date to his death date. So that's the one that I chose out of the two. So I know they were both talked about, but I don't know which one's the actual date. So it's either January, whatever I said, or November 9th. So somewhere in between November and January, he is said to have died while driving on the M1 motorway, which is basically the interstate for our United States listeners. And yeah, so it's crazy. I just don't know because like even on the multiple pages they all had different dates, so I'm not really sure when the actual one is, but I'm gonna go with November 9th, 1966 is our crash date or his death date. Maybe he crashed in on November 9th and he died later.
Like was in a coma? Like was in
maybe
yeah.
So this is how it's said that McCartney died. So he apparently had an argument with his bandmates during a Sgt. Pepper recording session. I don't know who the fuck Sgt. Pepper is. I didn't really delve into that. So I don't know if you know Mike or not.
It was actually Paul McCartney's fluffer. He had to have a boner while he made music.
Sgt. Pepper, it's an album.
Oh, okay.
Is that what it is? Oh,
and
okay.
it's a movie also.
Okay, so I don't know
Sergeant
the
Pepper's
album.
Lonely Hearts Band.
Gotcha. Okay, so I don't know, obviously, the fucking album name's too saucy, but I guess he got in an argument during the Sergeant Pepper recording session, and he drove off angrily in his car and distracted by a meter maid. Which, okay, so I'm gonna go into these things. So that's what, like, the name of these songs. So he's distracted by a meter maid, which is supposed to be referencing Lovely Rita, and not noticing the traffic lights changed. He crashed, which is referencing A Day in a Life. And then he was decapitated, which is referencing Don't Pass Me By. And then a funeral service for Paul was held with eulogies by George, which is referencing Blue Jay Way. And Ringo, Don't Pass Me By, followed by a procession. And then the Abbey's road front cover with Lennon as the priest officiating the funeral and burying him in the, and then with the thing that says with the alleged "I buried Paul" statement in the Strawberry Fields Forever, and to spare the public from grief or anything, they replaced him with the winner of a McCartney lookalike contest, and yeah, so that's where all that came from.
Mm-hmm.
But there's like that's what were you gonna say?
Were there actual recorded like Paul McCartney lookalike contests? Or is that just something?
Yeah, that was an actual thing that happened.
Oh, really? Okay, that's what I was wondering.
Yeah. Yeah, and then all the
Maybe
things when I was like, the listeners didn't see me throwing up my air quotes, but my air quotes were like the names of songs, I'm assuming. And yeah, and that's those are like the clues that they trickled out through their music and album covers and stuff. But yeah, so that's where it came from. Like, he just got angry, drove off, crashed his car, and then they used the winner of that lookalike contest to replace him. And then yeah, and then all those songs just said to have clues. I gotta take a piss real quick, but you guys can talk. I can still hear you. So one of the clues that they that actually have the audio for was in the song Revolution 9. And that song is allegedly backmask, which is when you play a song backwards, it says something else, you know, and that was very popular in that time of day. Like a lot of artists were actually doing that. And I actually have the regular version, like it's on like a repeat kind of thing, and then I'll play the backmask version as well. So I'm gonna play the regular one right now.
Number 9, number 9, number 9, number 9, number 9, number 9, number 9. Okay, so that was like the thing. And then Joseph, let me know if you can hear well, I don't know if you read what it's supposed to say, but I can't hear it personally myself. I listened to it a bunch of times. I can't hear it, but I'm gonna play it and let me know what you guys think it says. Honey on the man, 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 honey on the man.
Okay, so never mind. After I listened to it, I can actually hear it. So what do you think he said?
Sound like he said, "Let me on the man."
Okay, you were close. No, it sounds
like onion on naan bread to me.
Well, it also kind of sounds like he said, "Let me ottoman." Or on the ottoman or something like that. It sounded like.
It supposedly says, "Turn me on, dead man," which is supposed to be a reference to him being dead. So here, I'll play it again. So now that you guys know, it says, "Turn me on, dead man." Let me know if you guys can hear it.
Honey on the man, honey on the man, honey on the man, honey on the man.
Sure, like if you really fucking look into it.
Yeah, if you really listen to it, yeah, but also there are people that make money on YouTube.
I don't think that I can just hear it because I know what it says.
I mean, it's like similar with like lip syncing things. It's like if you hear words and see something, you're gonna make it fucking sound like it.
That's what I said. I was like, when I first listened to it, because I didn't read what it said, and I was like, I don't know what the fuck it's saying. But then after I said it and I played it, I was like, oh, actually, I could hear it now. But that's because I already knew, my brain knew what I was supposed to hear. You know what I mean? And so that's why I think that's what attributes to it. But that's what it's supposed to say. It's supposed to say "Turn Me On, Dead Man," and it's supposed to be a reference to him being dead of some sort.
Yeah, that's like
in their
that's
music.
such a weird
Backward,
thing to be like. I always thought those were weird fucking things because it most people say that when you turn records backwards, you hear them leaving a devil message, like because they want to like subliminally put it in there so your conscious picks it up. It's like love the devil, worship the devil. It's like that stuff makes more sense than somebody trying to be sneaky about being dead and then putting it in messages to fuck with you. It's like, hey, I'm dead, you dumbass. Like, over and over again.
It's said that the bandmates were the ones that were doing these so they can give out clues to their fans because they knew that they would know that if they had a double, you know, but the public didn't know. So then that's why they were trying to let the public know, but without letting them know, you know.
So apparently this thing I believe. So this page, Beatle.net, Paul McCartney admits Beatles planned death hoax. It was April 16, 2011 by Bruce.
That's cool. I didn't know they were paying us. No, I'm just kidding.
I was just saying like what I'm on. The article was apparently originally published in April 2004, but it says while he was on a recent vacation in New Orleans, Paul McCartney like let his guard down and then admitted oh my god, dude, I can't fucking talk. He admitted that the Paul is Dead clues found in several Beatles album covers and songs were deliberately planted by the group as part of an elaborate scheme dating back to that same summer of 1966. Apparently, he said the plan was formulated by their manager, Brian Epstein. Oh, that's hilarious. And this is what
not related to Jeffrey Epstein. I looked it up actually. Oh. I guess actually I have a little fun fact about it. So they said it's a common Ashkenazi Jewish surname, and it's he probably came, like his family probably came from a German town of Eppenstein in Hesse. I don't know how to say that, but that's why that's where the last name comes from. So I was like, oh, is he related to Jeffrey Epstein? That's like the first thing when I read that name. I was like, oh shit.
So I guess so Paul McCartney said that Brian dropped by the studio to hear the playback of our latest single, Paperback Writer. He didn't like it one bit. Not a love song, he said. He was concerned that the press and our fans wouldn't get it. He told us, people want love songs. They won't spend money for a song about a novel writer. You boys are going to blow it with this one. But by this time, we were running the show, not Brian. We insisted that Paperback Writer would be our next single and told him that the song represented the new direction of our songwriting. Represented the new direction our songwriting was going in. So, so when contacted in London, the former Beatles press agent Tony Barrow confirmed Brian's concerns, saying Brian was into traditional love songs. He told Paul to come up with another Yesterday or Michelle for the next single. Imagine his shock when he heard Paperback Writer and Rain. Not only were they not love songs, but they were so loud. We didn't know at the time, but the Beatles had recorded the first heavy metal single. Not exactly Till There Was You or A Taste of Honey. I was worried too. I wondered, had the boys gone too far this time? So the Brian guy became more concerned when he imagined an album full of unconventional songs. While a fan might take a chance on a single, an album purchase was a little thing in those days. So due to its higher price, particularly those in UK, were very careful about buying albums. And that's why the Beatles often issued an EP from the album containing 4 of its best tracks. So Brian came up with a plan to help sell these albums in the event that he was actually right about it, about the direction they were taking the group. And Paul explained, when I told him our future albums would be dominated by songs about interesting people and places, his heart sank. He didn't think people would buy such albums and came up with this great idea to push sales. In the events, he was right and we were wrong. The idea was that we would plant clues in our songs and album covers that one of us had died in a car wreck. If after a few albums our records weren't selling well, we'd leak out word about the clues and let our fans and the press take over. People would buy the albums to see and hear the clues. We thought, wow, that's an incredible idea. We realized it would be great fun to have all those clues sitting there undiscovered until people started going nuts looking for them. So that was that whole thing.
You know, that is funny because after they
and
they
that's
said
the
that
other thing,
like the rumor was going around that Paul McCartney died, their record sales were going fucking, they were exploding up. But then even their manager even commented on it. He's like, because it was like a quote or something, but I'm just gonna paraphrase because I don't have the quote in front of me. But he's like, ever since this Paul McCartney, because they always got like emails and shit, or not emails, but like letters and shit, you know, about him being dead before, you know, the alleged car crash. But they said after the alleged car crash, they were coming in a lot more and their record sales were going way sky high. So I don't think they did anything like after they said, oh, no, he's not dead. But, you know, I think after a certain point, they're just like, I'm just going to let this ride out. You know, there's money in our pocket.
Yeah, that's what Tony Barrows said. He said, nothing re-energizes a singer's career like his death. Do you really think Buddy Holly would have been so famous had he not died in that plane crash? Same for Richie Valens. Yeah. And certainly that one-hit wonder Big Bopper with his Channeling Lace song. And how about Otis Redding? He never had a number one hit till after he died in a plane crash. The fact that Brian came up with a car crash shows his genius. Airplane crashes were the norm.
Yeah, it's
like, yeah, that makes sense. I have no idea, by the way, who the fuck Big Bopper is.
Yeah,
and I want his name. Oh shit, here comes Big Bopper from Conspiracy Outpost.
Oh my god.
Hey, who wants to see my uncle's dick? That's gonna be my like catchphrase.
Dude, that like idea that he had seems pretty like, it seems like a far-fetched idea. Like, I mean, like when you were first telling the story, I thought you were gonna go in the direction where it's like, oh, if the sales don't do well, we're just gonna blame it on this guy, the one that supposedly replaced the person. You're like, well, it's this guy's musical input's fucking up the band.
It's just like, if you think about it, because when somebody does die, like that happens, and people fake it. Like if you think, like, what if, Tupac faked his death? Now he's got way more money than ever.
Well, because, Tupac's bodyguard that said that he helped fake Tupac's death, he ended up faking his own death. And he's like, yeah, see, you see how easy it is for me to do it? So like, why don't you think I could have done it for this guy?
Yeah, and you know how many greatest hits albums like came out? I don't remember how many there was, but there was one that I know of. But I mean, the fact is, it's like people listen more when people die than they do. I never disliked DMX. I just didn't listen to a lot of his music. After he died, I started actually listening to some of his music, like the day I heard about it, other than the couple of songs that I actually knew. And then like X Gonna Give It To You. But also Chris Webby did a song with DMX too. And and Chris Webby claimed it was the last song he did before he died. I don't really know if that's true. But then my favorite song is still the DMX song with Busy Bone. That is my favorite verse of DMX I ever heard. But it's like, it's true. You get more views. I bet Linkin Park, fucking their shit. Soundgarden, that's the one with Chris Cornell, right? Soundgarden? Yeah, I'm sure fucking people started listening to them hell after he died. And whatever thing he was a part of, I don't know.
Audio Slave.
Yeah, Audio. Okay, there we go. I knew there was another one. Bringing up oppression. Yeah. But I mean, it would make sense if somebody was smart enough to figure that out after all that stuff that's going on. It's like, yeah, but everybody always uses plane crashes. How funny would it be if there's like not Epstein's Island, but there's an island for all celebrities to go to after they fake their deaths so they can rake in the money? Like all these people are fucking sitting there. Richie Valens is hanging out with fucking Christopher Wallace, fucking Biggie. DMX is there. Hey, just landed.
Biggie's like, if I hear you say La Bamba one more fucking time, Ricky, I'm gonna beat your ass.
You got to hit that fucking like. If I go here, if I go here, La Bamba one more time, I'm gonna hit you in your big papa. He's like, slaps him in his dick.
Oh fuck.
And I can't do a Ricky Valens imitation or I'll get canceled. But you know,
that's why I just did the la 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 bumba part, because you know that's
dude. Vinny Paws. I love the fucking hook to one of his songs. He does that. It's like, fucking Vinny P. Ain't nobody stopping them. Oh wait, it's Vinny P. Ain't no stopping the monster. It's Vinny P. You crash like la 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 bamba. And I love that fucking line. I might have butchered the first part, but that's how it ends. Is you crash like la 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 bamba. That's the hook to the song. It's a fucking hella good song, especially the way they transition to the next part. It's like 45 caliber flow. Beat my chest so all the other savages know, and then you hear these like fucking gorilla noises in the back, whatever. And it's just, oh man, fucking love Vinny Paws. But yeah,
all because of a coin flip. That guy died.
Yeah, I know, dude. I remember watching that documentary when I was a kid, and I was like, holy shit, this guy would have died.
Because he didn't want to sleep on a cold bus with the crew.
Yeah. That's what happened.
He's like, flip a coin, you either get an airplane ride to a hotel or you sleep on a cold bus with the crew. I get the airplane ride.
By the way, that's a grimy thing to be like, hey, instead of the whole, it's like, let's all ride together. He's like, fuck you guys, I'm staying in a hotel.
That's what I imagine. He's like, fuck you, bitches, freezing the cold.
He's like,
the snow.
It's like, that's the rock thing with the tongue, the fucking bullhorn thing.
Hey, he's getting in the airplane and his publicist with him. He's like, all right, let's get the fuck out of here. Which I want to know is why one of his boys, like why couldn't he just stay on the bus? Like, you know, like his whoever else died with him, you know? Yeah, it's like why couldn't you stay on the bus and he just go? Why was there a coin flip in that?
That's a grimy.
He's the headliner. He's the headliner of the fucking show. Treat that guy good, you know? Like, why the fuck are you gonna make him heads or tails, bitch?
Dude, that was karma in fucking action right there.
Hey.
I'm not sleeping on a cold bus.
That publicist was an equal opportunity employer. He didn't treat any of his employees different. He's like, let me tell you something. If I treat you different than the backup dancers, then we're going to have a problem, man. So you're going to have to flip this fucking coin like everybody else did. Everybody else got tails. That's why they're on that fucking bus. We have enough seats for everybody. I just want to be fair.
Being the person I am, I would have started being like, oh, you can take it if you want. Like, I would have said that. Like, it's like, I would have
slept on the bus with all those people. It would have been hella warm.
Yeah, and not to mention, it's more of a fun fucking experience.
And I would have fucked one of the backup dancers or one of the crew people, you know? Like, why not?
Driver.
You're doing a good job, sir. Let me fuck you.
I appreciate everything you're doing right now. It's pretty cool. What do you say we rub two sticks together and heat it up?
Don't push back. It's not the time for that.
What do you say we rub two sticks together and heat this bitch up? Sir, I'm not a homosexual. I'm not either, but what happens in the bus stays in the bus. You got that, Gus?
That'd be hella funny if the bus driver was actually named Gus.
How'd you know my name was Gus? Shh, I didn't. It just rhymed. It just rhymed.
Then let me get into that la 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 bumba of yours.
Get your la 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 rampa.
It's just hella funny.
Fill my la 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 stumpa up in your rumpa. I got it. Oh man, a couple of jumpers who took the plane. Okay, that's fucked up. I'll just get back on track here. So yeah, I mean,
that's why the plane crashed, because he was fucking that pilot.
He was like, dude, I would have fucked the bus, but I gotta fuck the pilot on this one.
I only fuck people who are in control of my life right now. So buckle up, buckaroo.
Buckaroo. Can't believe I died on a plane. And let me get. Come on, I'm just trying to fuck on this plane with a guy named Shane. My name's Robert. God damn it. I bet the guy on the bus's name was Gus. Would it work better?
You're ruining the whole vibe. You know, fuck this.
They need to redo that documentary, but they actually need to like quickly do his background story and then just basically start the movie right there. And then do the thing from Community where they do the alternate universe if he
With the
flipped the
dice.
coin or tail, yeah. And it like goes in this whole thing, heads or tails. You know, American Dad did that recently too.
Yeah. No, but so they said Fred Labor said that a man replaced McCartney with an orphan from Edinburgh named William Campbell. And William Campbell was said to be trained by the Beatles to impersonate McCartney's. But not McCartney's, just the one McCartney. But others say that the man's name was William Shears, and that's the guy that I delved into the most.
So they went from, oh, here comes the death of Paul McCartney to the beginning of Paul Adopt Me. So that's what we got going on here.
But his name was supposedly William Campbell. And Campbell was said to be trained by the Beatles to impersonate McCartney's. But McCartney, I said it again. I don't know why I said McCartney's again. It didn't make any fucking sense. But others said the guy's name was William Shears. And that's the guy that I don't know. I don't even know what happened. I just delved into this guy. So William Shears, later abbreviated to Billy Shears. In 1965, Billy Shears entered and won a Beatle lookalike competition organized by Brian Epstein, who was looking for Beatle doubles just in case one of his boys got killed. No winners were ever announced for this competition. After Paul was killed in 1966, Brian Epstein is said to have bribed the police and journalists to keep the accident under wraps. He then persuaded the remaining Beatles to stay together and accept William or Billy Campbell to Campbell Shears as a replacement. And then, of course, he was equally as talented as McCartney and witty as the original. And although he was American, he picked up the Liverpool accent that Paul had. And with a little plastic surgery, he also assumed Paul's babyface good looks. And then
I'm just thinking about yellow submarine. Yellow submarine. We all live in a yellow submarine.
And then according to the Paul is Dead theorist group, it explains why the band stopped touring in 1966 and started growing beards.
The fuck?
To cover up the scars.
Well, because he actually did crash. I think he was driving like a moped or something, and he actually crashed, and he ended up getting a fat lip, and he had a big ass scar. And so McCartney did grow a mustache to cover up his fat lip because he didn't want to look like a jackass. But I guess that's why they started growing beards, probably just to make it less, like so they can't like tell the facial differences. I guess I'm not really sure, but I guess they stopped touring in 1966. I don't know if they ever went on tour after that. I'm not sure. I never looked into it. I assume that you would have known, Mike, because you're a music aficionado.
Yeah, I mean the beard thing, dude. That could just be that they're getting older.
Yeah,
and they're no longer wanting to look like they work in a barbershop quartet. This is like prime hippie time, man. They were hippies. Come on now. They were doing LSD and shit.
Yeah, and styles fucking changed throughout the times. Like even Eminem's got a beard now because I mean, after a while, it was really popular for rappers to have fucking beards. So then Eminem.
I really think it's weird that Eminem has a beard because I think he looks better baby faced.
Well, because that's how he sold his whole career. He was like this baby face like guy. Not sold his career, but I mean his style. He kept it the same with his face the entire time. Never in his career did he even have fucking stubble. He always was a fresh, clean guy. But then it was like every
rapper he came out with the beard, and then he was wearing one of those like little like flat top caps, that like hang low on your face like this. I'm like, who the fuck does this guy think he is? Like, what the fuck? Why are you looking so weird? Now I'm used to it. I'm like, oh, I can fuck with it. But like at first I was like, it looks too weird for me, man.
Anywho, let's continue.
Okay, but yeah, anyways, as I was saying, dude, you can go fucking one or two ways with that. You can either shave your hair or you can grow it out, because they were already people at the time when they had the bowl cuts were probably like, fuck yeah, dude, nothing is my pussy wetter than a fucking a bowl of Campbell's tomato soup. So I love to see that on top of someone's head. Like, that's okay. No, yeah, so I mean, you have one or two choices. You can shave it all off, or do what most rock stars do and grow out your fucking hair.
Yeah, they all grew it out except for Paul, pretty much. Paul, like, he grew it out, wasn't a bowl cut anymore, but it wasn't as long as the rest. Paul, I think, had the
Paul.
Paulie. Hey, Paulie.
Hey, Paulie, want a cracker?
But yeah.
Now, so what's it called? Let me.
I was just getting at. I don't find it weird that he grew his hair out.
So there's a. Yeah, no, neither do I. Well, like, well, I don't know, because I feel like
he looks like he could be my grandmother. He looks like he can be my grandmother. Hey, Joey, did you get your meals? I don't know.
Is that a recent picture?
No, his hair is white now. That's just a picture that pops up on Google.
I don't say, God damn it. Does he still have a full head of hair, though?
From that Linkin Park video, he did, but that was hella years ago.
Yeah, I was gonna say I actually didn't even look up any recent pictures of Paul McCartney, so I don't even fucking know. Is the motherfucker still alive?
I think so.
Yeah, it doesn't have a death day. He is born in 1942. It says he's 80 on Wikipedia.
Damn, this motherfucker still has a full head of hair, though. I mean,
yeah,
it's thin out. But shit, dude.
Good for him.
You're looking at the picture from 2021.
Man, he's probably going to have more hair than I am at his age. Shit.
Yeah, I mean, his teeth probably years old, but he's British,
1942.
Good, but it makes up for it in his hair.
Well, that's because there's all that fucking tea they drink, man. Staining the shit out of it. No, so there's a few clues that the Beatles have left for the fans to, like, clues and shit, you know, like on their album, like on their albums. Here, let me say this right. On the title, making up the title on the sleeve of the Magical Mystery Tour album, they say there's a secret phone number hidden in the stars on the title. And they say if you call that number, it'll tell you the true account of Paul's death. Now, when I was reading about this, I went onto like a subreddit page, and people are like, oh, if you call the number, that's either A, an angry old lady yelling at you, tell you to stop calling her. B, there's somebody saying Paul McCartney is alive, or there's another one is just like, you know, just a busy tone kind of deal. But I was like, oh, this poor old lady. These people is like, this is
like how many people number. Are like calling it still? Like, yeah, call it back then. I'd imagine that number is changed by now.
It had to, but like even people like just like, because this newer generation of, I don't know if you guys get on TikTok or not, but I see it all the time on TikTok, and these newer generation kids are like coming out, like they're making these conspiracy videos, like they're the ones who fucking cracked the case, like they're the ones who found out about these conspiracies, even though these conspiracies have been around for fucking way longer than we've been alive, you know, and they're younger than us, and they're like, oh, have you guys ever heard of time travel and fucking God damn it, his name just left my fucking brain.
I see
Mike Tyson and the thing, like, this is irreferable proof that
the guy with
time
the
travel
phone
is
at
real.
The Mike Tyson
yeah,
fight.
It's like, bitch, I knew about that when I was in high school. Like, shut the fuck up. Like, oh,
that's the same thing with it was a PS2 thing. It's like, did you know? Or I was today years old when I figured this out. It might not be kids, it might be whatever, but they're flipping the PS symbol on the PS2. It's like, yeah, I figured that out back when PS2 was a thing. It blew my mind.
Not gonna lie, I didn't know about that until I saw that video. I was like, oh, no fucking way.
Yeah,
I never fucked with my console because I always try to keep them, you know, because I didn't want to fuck them up. Yeah. Remember when I bought you that game, Joseph?
I don't remember.
on the Xbox. I bought you the Metal Gear Solid 1, 2, and 3 or whatever.
Yeah,
And you
and then
punched the Xbox and broke it.
I punched it, and I was just like, I do it all the time, and it didn't break, and then the fucking game comes out and it's destroyed, and I was like, oh, I actually broke the fucking game because I was like, oh, calm down, it's not fucking broken. I do it all the time, and we fucking pull it out, and it's fucking like all tore up, like scratched all around after I did that.
I'm not gonna lie, I was very salty because I never played the Metal Gear Solid games all the way through, so I wanted to play them.
And I'm not gonna lie, I was
and
it was
the first disc. It was the first disc, but Joseph did replace it, or Matthew did, or someone did, or Russell did. I don't know, because someone was playing it.
It definitely wasn't me because I wasn't making any money at the time, but someone probably did because of that. But I was a complete piece of shit for that because I was literally.
But it was Joseph's. It was Joseph's game. I bought it for Joseph, but I wanted to play it.
So no, I was hurt. I was hurt too, but I was a complete asshole about it too. I was pissed off at the game. It was my favorite fucking. It was my favorite game franchise. Still is on the top of fucking games. Is Metal Gear. And I fucking destroyed that shit. One fucking whatever. But again, he shouldn't.
So they say that there were some secrets hidden amongst it. We talked about the stars and the phone number, and then there's the photograph of the Beatles on the zebra crossing.
So after the zebra, did you say zebra walk? Is that what you said?
Zebra crossing the crosswalk.
The Abbey Road picture.
Yeah. It's supposed to represent a funeral procession, and then Paul William Shears, the barefoot, confirms it, and then the white Volkswagen Beetle in the background with the plate number 28 if suggests that if Paul would have been 28 years old if he had survived.
Again, all these things it's so ridiculous to be like, hey, we went through all this work to be quiet about something. Let's keep dropping hints about it.
Well, I'm sure the publicist, like if it was true, the publicist would want to keep it quiet, but the bandmates, maybe they weren't so keen on it. And they were like, oh yeah, let's drop some clues out there. And then maybe the publicist is like, oh yeah, I don't like they're not.
Yeah.
Is it money? Because I would never look at the fucking license plate on an album cover, honestly, unless it said something like something wild right there. I'm like, oh shit, what the fuck? But if it said 28 if or if 28 or let me see what it said. But yeah, 28 if I would have been like, oh, this is some weird license plate, like whatever. I'm not gonna go look into it.
Shit. But also that means they would have to have their hands into every little thing, like the photographer. It's like, hey, do you mind if we put this license plate on here? Can you make it vivid enough so people can see that specifically? I don't know. I mean, maybe they were in detail about shit like that.
But I don't know. That's just one of the clues. Obviously, they have the backward messages hidden on their records. Their unusual photographs. The OPD badge that Paul is wearing on his fancy blue uniform that on the Sgt. Pepper album. He it's official police slang for officially pronounced dead. And the first line of "She's leaving home" is Wednesday morning at 5:00 as the day begins. Oh wait, did I read that right? Yeah, Wednesday morning on the 5:00. Yeah, okay, never mind. I thought I read that wrong. As printed on Sgt. Pepper's sleeve as being direct reference to the time of Paul's death on Wednesday 9th.
Wait,
November 1966. See, this one says November. Is that what I said? Oh yeah, that was right. Okay, never mind. I was thinking September for some reason. Yeah, and so apparently that's supposed to be like his the OPD badge that he's wearing is officially pronounced dead, and then the Wednesday morning at 5:00 as the day begins is a reference to him being dead on Wednesday the 9th of November 1966.
What were you saying the license plate number was?
28F. Oh yeah.
Yeah, I was looking at this guy was saying to make that clear, it's LMW. This is a comment on something because people are talking about it on Quora. But he said to make that clear, it's LMW 2811F. L's registered in London. M at the Boreham Wood office. W281 unique identifier with London Boreham Wood. F registered in the year commencing 1st August 19 68. And then they put a picture of the Volkswagen. I'm trying to look at the comments, but I'm not seeing anything. In other words,
I didn't delve any deeper than that. I just read that part, and then I was like, oh, that's pretty interesting.
And the guy's like, and in other words, it only has the number that was assigned to it, as with any license plate. I don't know. It's all downers on it. But I was curious if there's an explanation to it.
Oh, I have no idea.
But I mean, people do double whatever anyways with things. Aspen.
So there's also another thing. They said if you take a mirror and lay it horizontally across the middle. Excuse me, sorry. If you take a mirror and lay it horizontally across the middle of the drum skin on the artwork of the front cover of the Sgt. Pepper sleeve, it reads, I won, IX, he die. And that's supposed to be a clear reference in the dates that Paul's death in Roman numerals. I is 1, I1 equals 11, and then then obviously that's November, and then IX is 9 in Roman numerals, and it's supposed to be the 9th. So there's that one as well.
All these seem pretty far-fetched, to be honest.
I know. I'm just throwing them out there. I'm just throwing them out there. I'm not saying I agree with these because I obviously didn't. Because I was gonna actually go look up these album covers, go probably print them off, and go stick them next to a mirror and shit, and see if I could actually see them. But it's the same thing. I feel like with the number, like when they were saying the 9 thing, and I was like, I don't hear it, but now that I see it. Now that I read it and I listened to it, then now I can hear it. So that's what it would be. But on the Beatles' last album, Let It Be, the sleeve is black, and then which is an appropriate color, obviously, for a funeral. Whereas, and then all the other Beatles are facing to one side, and then Paul, aka Billy Shears, is looking directly at the viewers in a blood red background. But he's the only one. Everybody else has a black background. So that one I thought was
that
pretty
one's
interesting.
Yeah.
So I was like, that's kind of weird. Why would everybody look away and just Paul McCartney be looking straight ahead? And then why would he have just a different background? I don't know.
Yeah.
There you are. But yeah, I just that was the last of the things that I had.
Okay. Yeah. I suggested this one, but I don't believe this one at all.
I don't know. See, like I went into this I went in this with the mindset it's like, oh, this is another fucking Tupac kind of deal, But then I was going deeper into it, and then some of these things I feel like they're like what you said, Mike, was the grasping at straws. But at the same point, it's like, why? What was the OPD badge on that he was wearing? What did that stand for? It never fucking specifies, other than officially officially pronounced dead, not declared dead. Sorry. And then I didn't look into if you put the albums up next to the mirror or the number in the sky. I didn't go and call that because I went on the subreddit and it said some old lady was get pissed at people were calling her all the time. But it's just I just think it's weird. But that last album, that Let It Be album, that's what got me. It's like, oh, but why? I know it's probably for I don't know, aesthetic purposes is why they did it, but why would he just be looking at the thing and not everybody else? Or why is everybody else looking away and then he's the only one looking directly at it? And it's supposed to be signifying oh yeah, he's the only one that was replaced or whatever.
He could have been just I like red.
Could you imagine an old lady? Could you imagine an old lady? It's like, what? Who? Paul McCartney? Why does everybody keep calling? Is that person a part of that devil worshipping rock music? Thing. We all live in sin, not on a yellow submarine.
But I always circle back to the same question with any famous celebrity that dies, performer, anything, is like, why would any government agency go through the trouble of fucking producing a double for no reason? Because this would have had to been a major fucking thing. Because not only you'd have to bribe the coroner, and then you'd have to make sure that coroner kept his mouth shut. You'd have to bribe any fucking journalist,
Yeah.
and make sure they kept their mouth shut, or fucking kill them, Clinton them, and like fucking like there would be so much work into everything.
Yeah.
Like I just don't understand.
Yeah,
I
and
just
here's the
never
thing.
understood why they would go to such extents. I know that like the Beatles were gaining traction and they were getting super big and it was at the height of their thing, but that doesn't make sense to me. It's like, oh yeah, people die every day. Why are they going to make these people special just because
and
the majority of the
again,
population listen to them? That doesn't make sense. I just don't understand.
Do you see how
why
many
they
moron?
like
you see how many fucking
what it would do?
You see so many moronic things when it comes to the government online. You can give them that much credit that they can hide a fucking celebrity, no less. I mean, the times might have been different back then, but people know more about celebrity, like musicians and actors, doctors, than they know about fucking people that work close to politics and shit. People's like, hey, that's the guy who fucking gave the pills to Michael Jackson and killed him. That's like people recognize names when it comes to fucking celebrity shit more than they do politics. That's why we have fucking, like, I mean, like Trump, he was a celebrity prior to for being rich. Like he literally, there's so many documentaries about how did the country come to a point of putting celebrities as officials, like him or Arnold Schwarzenegger as governor. It's like, yeah, it's like people care more about fucking people that talk a lot and have a lot of camera view, like than they do actual fucking important shit. I mean, music to me is more important than fucking politics shit, and not in the sense that because that's how the country's run. But I mean, I find musicians smarter than fucking politicians a lot of times. Yeah, that's what I think.
Politicians are just a bunch of fucking snake ass crooks.
All fucking like politics are like, in the wise words of apathy, and fuck Republicans and Democratic little devils. It's all Bloods and Crips, but on a bigger level. Like it's just people. It's all fucking people that are choosing sides and fucking fuck this guy because he's blue. No, fuck this guy because he's red. And it's like, dude, I've met cool people on both sides, but yeah, people follow celebrity shit more than anything else. You know how many fangirls there were for the fucking Beatles? How many of those fangirls were actually fucking hardcore politicians, like into politics and shit, like knew the branches of their government and all that fucking shit? Yeah, the Beatles were fucking insane. I think it was like this. It's like the Beatles were more popular than God himself or Jesus or some shit like that. Yeah. It was like there was nothing in the world that was more fucking followed than their career in the public eye anyways. So it's like that for them to make Paul McCartney disappear and then to nonchalantly poke little jokes about, hey, he's dead. Look at this picture. Look, if you play this backwards, we're fooling you. It's like, dude, you wouldn't need the little hints. You'd be able to figure it out. You'd find his grave.
Well, these people did figure it out. That's why we're talking about it.
Yeah, yeah, and they figured it out because the Beatles told them, like, secretly in their messages that he was dead. And it's like the Beatles outsmarted the whole entire world by fucking.
Well, at least the people who are in control of their artwork and stuff,
or their songs. They chose their lyrics specifically knowing that playing them backwards would say, I'm dead.
Yeah, but like say you're you own a studio and someone comes in and records and they say some they say some lines. You don't know what they're saying. Like they can say something forward, but you don't know when you play it backwards, it's going to backtrack like that.
Yeah, actually, like, it's as crazy. A reporter. If you play Let It Be backwards, it actually says that Paul McCartney's dead. The guy that replaced him just wanted to work at a car dealership to be close to his mom. And Ringo Starr and John Lennon made out once, and that's why Lennon has to leave the group.
It's actually not "Let It Be"; it's a "Leave Him Be." Is actually no.
There's a bunch of stuff in there. If you play it backwards, there's a bunch of homoerotic stuff and a sad story. Actually, I don't know the year that song came out, so that that could be incorrect. But yeah, just let it be, you guys. You gotta whisper words of wisdom and just let it be.
Yep.
But honestly, even if he was replaced, it wouldn't make a difference to me because he still came out with fucking great music regardless. So it doesn't even.
They did that. They literally did that with Michael Jackson. They had an impersonator doing songs. The guy came forward and admitted it. At least for one, that Monster song with 50 Cent. But I think he did multiple songs, and he like came out and said it, and it wasn't denied. But there's no legal suits to it, I don't think, because the songs were.
Let It Be came out in 1970.
Oh, okay, so then
May 8th.
Okay. All right, it's cool. So it holds up. Aspen, do not touch that. Quit.
But it was remastered in 2009.
Well, yeah,
been remastered.
I think I might be wrong about this, but with the Michael Jackson thing, it's like the song rights were already owned.
What'd you say, Mike?
Oh, like all their stuff's been remastered.
Yeah, because I looked up "Let It Be" release date and it said 2009. I was like, I know that's not right. And then I went back and I put in original release date and it said 1970. So
they remaster songs all the time, especially classics. Classic rock.
Anyway, so I put out all my information that I had on it, like their little clues and whatnot. But and I gave you guys my final thoughts. Basically, is like I don't believe he was replaced, but it's very convincing that he might have been. You know, that's where I'm at. Like it's it's pretty crazy.
It's a cool concept. I mean, for God's sake, they made a fucking graphic novel about it.
It's the most detailed replacement or like celebrity dying and then somebody else coming in, like kind of deal. Like it's the most like it has a lot of information and there's a lot of clues. But as Joseph said earlier, it's like, oh, the publicist was like, oh, let's put these clues out so we can fuck with people and get more sales, you know?
And it's like that. I believe that more than I'd believe anything else. I don't even fully believe that. It might have just been coincidence, and they're just like, no, actually, we did it on purpose. But I mean, I'd believe that more than I would anything else. It's like a lot of topics. It definitely is a cool concept. Like that's why they can make stories about it and everything else. They could make a fucking movie off of it. It'd be pretty cool. I don't believe this shit. I was trying, like, with a lot of the stuff that we do, I've been trying to keep more of an open mind, but this one, like any other fucking fake death thing, I don't know. I'll keep an open mind, but this one was like the most ridiculous. This and Elvis, I think. I don't think either one of them. Although it'd be funny to fucking
that's the other person we did. I couldn't think. I knew we did another one besides Tupac, and I was like, who the fuck was the other one? I forgot about.
Yeah, but I mean, I guess this one isn't really faking their death. But how funny would it be if it actually was faking Paul McCartney's death to create a conspiracy within a conspiracy, and Paul McCartney and Elvis are running around together, and it's like one of those old school fucking 80s sitcoms, and it's just like Presley and McCartney, like. Music going.
That should be hella fun. It'd be like if it was like a comedy TV show or something.
Yeah, they're going around the world fucking stopping high class drug dealers to send a message to the world. It's like drugs are bad. He's getting away. What are we gonna do? Well, you better stop him. Here's a gun.
The bug.
I miss my toasted sandwiches. I'm getting too old for this.
I miss my donkey.
But yeah, there's a reason why every time you look at this shit online, it always fucking starts with urban legend and conspiracy. I feel like there's a fine line between those. Urban legends are more, I know, word to mouth with like a lot of like details to them,
Yeah.
but no, like,
did you hear this one
backing
thing?
them
That's
up.
what an urban legend is.
Yeah, it's like, did you hear that this is whatever? I heard if you play the song backwards, it sounds like this, like kind of. Whereas conspiracies, they're not proof, but they have more ideas backing them up. Like urban legends is more word to mouth, and it's like if you really listen, or I heard this from whatever, and it's like there's proof, and it's like
listen. If you get naked in the shower, get the bathroom all steamy, and you play Dark Side of the Moon, I'm telling you, you get an erection.
you get an erection, and it's fantastic. Well, it's not an urban
And it's
legend.
because the subtext in the song makes you do it. Like, and then you go into the shower and you're playing Dark Side of the Moon, and then there you are.
Dude, I always thought that Candy
harder as a rock. And you're like, God damn, he's right.
I always thought that the Candyman was just an urban legend. I didn't know it was actually God damn it, what's his name?
Oh no, but I think we should end this because I gotta get going soon.
Okay, yeah.
Well, did you give us your final thoughts, Mike?
Yeah,
I
Mike.
did. I said it. I said it earlier. But yeah, it's. I just feel like I don't believe it at all. This is one that I don't believe. I feel like grasping at straws. There's some interesting things like on the album art with the red background and him being the only one facing, him the only one having no shoes for some reason. Just things that were setting McCartney separate from the rest of them. But that could just be because McCartney's a fucking weirdo and just wants to do things different.
Yeah, or
They just wanted to stand out or something.
Oh yeah, like a lead vibe. Like when you see albums where they put like a lead singer or the fucking like the main attraction up front and put everybody else in the background. Like you want one person to stand out.
If there's a lead to the Beatles, it's either him or Lennon.
If you want to hear about more Nazi stuff, tune in next week for Project Operation. Is it Project or Operation? I don't fucking know.
I don't know.
I was a Viking. We're going to talk about the Soviets snatching up our German counterparts.